All right, yo. Good morning, good morning, good morning. April 23rd, 2024. We're here. Tuesday, right? If you didn't have a great Monday, make this turnaround Tuesday. You still got the majority of the week ahead of you. I can't relate though if you did have a bad Monday, because I'm not gonna lie, we knocked it out of the park. RIOT, Citigroup, BAC, a number of different plays coming back with returns over 100%, which you can't ever be mad about, right? There's nowhere else in the world you can go and do that, double your money on multiple fronts except in the stock market, right? It's a beautiful place and it's something you can do there consistently. But you want to make sure that you are waiting for the opportunity to present itself, right? As well as operating within a system. So that when you do win, you win, bigger than you lose, right? You look at a number of different stocks that we have, cooked up over the course of the past few sessions, over the course of the past few weeks, past few months. And, some of them pay us multiple times, some of them may pay us once and then fake us out the second time. And that happens, right? I was talking to Vivian yesterday, um, about that and saying we need to come up with some nicknames for these ones that, work once and don't work the second time. But if you look at even like a Dell or a Gap, the first payday is well over 100%. And if we lose on the second one, all right, we lose 40%, right? But doubling your money and then losing less than half on that next round, you still end up net green, right? So we're not ever trying to eliminate losses. We are just looking to make sure that our wins are bigger than our losses and that we're consistent with the wins. So that's what we want to stick to, right? Even here today on this very, very light news day that we've got going on. And good morning, everybody. Dawn, good morning. Detrice, good morning. Everybody who's joining us from the future and watching this replay, good morning. Sorry I couldn't wait for you, but we're going to go ahead and dive in. Make sure, though, even if you are joining us from then, that you want to throw that one in the chat, signifying your intention to get 1% better. Get 1% better on purpose today. Go about with the intention of doing that, right? Execute on it, and let's make it a freaking great day because it's beautiful outside. Got back on the running trail, slacked off yesterday, got my 3 miles in today, and we did it. I wouldn't say I was feeling good necessarily afterward. I'm feeling good now, but afterward, I definitely thought I could see the light. But that's what happens. Back into it, and it only gets easier by continuing to do it. So, in terms of our top news here, brace for impact, slowing demand, intense competition, price cuts, layoffs. Tesla has had it rough in the past. In the recent past, and shareholders are now preparing for what could be the automaker's worst results in around 7 years. The earning report due after the bell today follows a chaotic week for Tesla, which slashed prices in many of its major markets following notable price cuts in the U.S. Its billionaire CEO Elon Musk also had to postpone a trip to India where he planned to announce the company's entry into the market with a $2 to $3 billion investment, blaming very heavy Tesla obligations. So yeah, he's probably about to go abroad and then was like, yeah, I actually can't do this right now because I've got a dumpster fire going on back at home that I have to tend to. In terms of an earnings preview, Tesla is expected to report Q1 revenue of 22.5 billion and an EPS of 50 cents. The biggest focus may be on the automotive gross margin line, with traders looking out for comments on AI initiatives, margin expectations, full self-driving take rates, as well as what the product roadmap looks like, including if the mass market Model 2 is still part of the master plan. Deutsche Bank analyst Emmanuel Rosner said Tesla stock will need to undergo a potentially painful transition in ownership base, with investors previously focused on Tesla's EV volume and cost advantage potentially throwing in the towel. While Musk is likely to talk up the potential of the robotaxi business, Morgan Stanley warned investors to keep their hopes down. Quote, the event should offer some important clues as to how Tesla approaches autonomy, generative AI, non-rules based, and why the company is seemingly rapidly stockpiling its computational horsepower. However, while we are prepared to see evidence of improved system efficiency, we ultimately believe the path to commercialization at scale for driverless cars is much further out than the market expects, warned analyst Adam Jonas. Options trading on Tesla implies a 10% share price swing after the report drops. So if there's a move smaller than 10%, you will get IV crushed and you likely won't make money on that. So again, for everybody who's like, oh, Tesla's getting crushed, I need to go puts. Maybe, right? Maybe. But if you go puts, or you could say, hey, it's all overblown. They made a lot of changes. I think they surprised to the upside because the expectations are so low. And we know that, movement is all based around expectations. If you don't get a move larger than 10%, you don't get paid. right? So just keep that in mind, is that if you are placing a bet on earnings, you are placing a bet of a more than 10% move to happen for Tesla, which can happen. Just make sure you're factoring that into your expectations. To note, Tesla stock has slid around 43% so far this year and is among the worst performers in the S&P 500. Wah, wah, wah. Seeking Alpha commentary, Seeking Alpha analyst, value analyst doesn't think it's all doom and gloom for Tesla investors, although they are staying on the sidelines for now. Quote, I will be keeping my eye on actual data and material management guidance on the topics that matter to long term investors rather than drama. I highlight the recent slowdown in the pace of Tesla's resale value declines as a glimmer of hope. Seeking Alpha analyst Brendan O'Boyle said Tesla's discounted cash flow analysis suggests that the stock is becoming reasonably priced despite the pessimism in the market. Quote, potential new products such as full self-driving, Cybertruck, and advanced battery technology, new markets, and Tesla's energy division may drive the stock in years to come. Yeah, I was seeing how apparently too with the Cybertruck, the frame is just like not built well. Like it's built in a way that it collects water and just does not, it has no like drainage or anything. That's why they tell you to not go through a car wash with it. So yeah, just a lot going on for them right now. And if you happen to be listening to this and you have a Cybertruck, hand wash it, I guess, and make sure that there's no water collecting inside of the vehicle because it can cause the vehicle to short out from that water that's collecting and not distributing elsewhere. In terms of data news, substantial leak. What else is new? United Health, ticker UNH, said a preliminary review of data involved in February's cyber attack on its Change Healthcare unit indicates that personal information was involved and that a substantial proportion of people in America could be impacted. Sheesh. The health insurer said that around 80% of Change's functionality has been restored, with full restoration expected in the coming weeks. The hackers behind the hack reportedly gained access to computer systems 9 days before launching the ransomware attack using compromised credentials. United Health had paid a ransom to the hackers to protect patient data, although the amount has not been disclosed. Dang, these hackers are ruthless out here and they're only getting more ruthless. But that underscores the need for companies like, your CrowdStrike, your Okta, right? All this annoying two-factor, multi-factor authentication is necessary because of instances like this. And health data is wealth data, right? Health data is some of the most prized data that you can get your hands on. And at this point, I feel like who hasn't been compromised, right? It's like I feel like through all these different hacks, AT&T and healthcare companies and all this, like who has not had their information tossed out there? In terms of tech news, chip reselling, Chinese research institutes have been able to buy NVIDIA's high end artificial intelligence chips through resellers, underscoring the challenges the US faces in restricting chip exports to China. Yeah, I don't get how they could plan to do that because I could go and buy a laptop with an NVIDIA chip in it and then just sell it to someone overseas. So like I get what they're trying to do, but they're gonna get their hands on these chips if they want to get their hands on these chips. Like it's not even super tough to do that. These advanced chips were embedded in server products made by Supermicrocomputer, ticker SMCI, and Dell Technologies, DELL, according to tenders fulfilled between November 20th and February 28th. So they could just go in and buy up a bunch of Dell computers and a bunch of SMCI tech and just take the NVIDIA chips out of them. This was after the U.S. had widened chip export controls, although it's unclear if the chips had been acquired prior to this. An NVIDIA so they can't also tell for sure. An NVIDIA spokesperson said the tenders show that the products were exported before U.S. restrictions and, quote, are a negligible fraction of the products sold worldwide. So maybe they're just making a big deal out of this because of the slow news day. But the premise makes sense, right? If they could still buy Dell computers or SMCI computers and they are able to get their hands on Nvidia Tech or any of the other computers out here. They have Nvidia GeForce RTX chips or any of the other Nvidia chips. In terms of stock news, 24/7 Trade, the New York Stock Exchange owned by Intercontinental Exchange, whose ticker is ICE, has started polling market participants on their interest in and potential implications of an exchange that trades stocks 24/7. While the polling doesn't necessarily mean that the NYSE is considering moving to round-the-clock trading, the move underscores growing interest in trading stocks in off hours. The survey comes after 24 Exchange, backed by Stephen Cohen's Point 72, applied with the Securities and Exchange Commission to start the first 24-hour exchange. The prospect of 24-hour trading, which would likely lead to changes across the ecosystem, becomes a heavier lift for exchanges as they're supervised by the SEC. Yeah, I don't think it's going to get passed, but if it does, congrats to all those that trade 24 hours a day. It won't be me. There's a reason why I don't do that now. I could trade crypto that's open 24 hours, could trade futures that's open 24 hours, or, whatever futures are open, but I have no desire to do such. I go in, I do my work, I spend the rest of my time, focusing on things that fulfill me and all that good stuff. But otherwise, I'd have people hitting me up nonstop. Oh, should I take this trade at midnight? You are not getting an answer, right? You are not getting an answer. If you are up trading SPY at midnight thinking that you're going to get some advice from here, I'm getting some good sleep. In terms of today's markets, in Asia, Japan, we're up 0.3%, Hong Kong up 1.9%, China down 0.7%, India up 0.1%. In Europe, the FTSE in London up 0.6%, Paris up 0.6%, Frankfurt up 1.1%, the Dow up 0.3%, S&P up 0.3%, Nasdaq up 0.4%, crude down 0.2%, gold down 1.2%, Bitcoin flat at 66K. New home sales at 10 a.m. PMI composite flash at 9:45 a.m. So we could get some data 15 minutes after open, and then a half hour after open that cause some volatility. So just keep your eyes open for that. We could open up and have some kind of sideways movement until we get this data. Or big money uses this data drop as a way to conceal the move that or mask the move that it makes. So maybe we chop, and then the move that we were going to make, we make once this data comes out at 9:45 or 10. And what else is happening? We had a short newsletter this morning. We'll finish up with our rapid fire stock news rundown. Wall Street breakfast survey results, rescheduling of cannabis unlikely this year in terms of rescheduling what class of drug it is. Not in the bag. FTC sues to block $8.5 billion Capri sale to Tapestry. Another M&A deal bites the dust. California bill aims to ban Clear Secure, whose ticker is U, from airport security lines. Exxon leads industry fight against UN talks on plastic production cap. Matterport, ticker MTTR, shares more than double on sale to CoStar, whose ticker is CSGP. Ending dispute, Petrobras board endorses 50% payout of extra dividends. Meta opens up Quest headset operating system in challenge to Apple. Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? You have to make things open source really in order to move it faster. I feel like that is what every, major technology is kind of shown. Every breakthrough is if you make it open source, it can happen faster. Yes, it's less proprietary, you have more people involved, and it leaves you kind of more susceptible, but progress happens quicker when everyone can contribute. Albertsons, ticker ACI, and Kroger to sell more stores to clear up way for merger. Archer Daniels Midland, ticker ADM, CFO to step down in wake of DOJ probe. IEA sees strong EV sales, but affordability and charging roadblocks remain. So that'll wrap us up right there. Quick little session on, I almost said August. On April 23rd, 2024. Excited to get into what the rest of this week has for us. Of course, all eyes will be on the big earnings that we have to come, Tesla, and all the rest of the big names coming down the pipeline this week. I'll go ahead and throw an earnings calendar on my Instagram story so you guys can check that out there. But let's make it a great week on purpose. Let's continue to, speak into existence what we want to see. If you only shout when things are good, you'll never know what it's like to lift your voice high. So lift it high now and shout in advance of the greatness to come. Right? Go ahead and claim that week in advance because that's the only way that you bring it home for yourself. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.